Good morning, everyone, and happy Star Trek Day. So, we're going to be working a little bit today on 3D modeling, but just because we're doing 3D modeling doesn't mean that we shouldn't practice. So, we're going to go on ahead and head over to the May line and practice, and we're going to see what we've got going on here. So, we seem to have a camera falling again. There we go. We'll get this camera kind of straightened out there. Seems like we're a little hot on the microphone. We could probably pull the microphone down to here. There we go. All right. Now, like I said before, what I've got here is I've got a scale, and this is just a normal civil engineer's scale, architect scale. I don't use it for its scale purposes. Really what I use it for is because it's easy to pick up. I love this thing because it's just you grab up here and it's easy to pick up. So when I put it down on the table like that, I could just pick it right up. It doesn't take any effort. With some of these other rulers that I've used in the past, you put it down, then you have to kind of try to grab underneath it. So, I'm going to take a normal pencil here, and we go like this, and give ourselves a parallel line, just like that. And then we're just going to make dots on either side here, just like this. All right. All right. And we're just going to take a normal French curve. And this one is just your standard everyday French curve. I'm just going to put some curves in. And really, the reason I put the curves in is just so that I can have some practice running lines around curves. Like that. It doesn't matter what they look like. It's not important. I'm just using a normal 0.4 pen here. And this is what we're going to do. Make sure that your elbow is lifted off the table. Make sure that your wrist is lifted off the table. And you just start here, and you just draw a line. The idea is to be as straight as possible. But if you're not straight on these lines, that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? This is about patience. And with these lines right here, we're going to practice departing from here and looking to our destination. So when you start, I'm now looking at my destination. And it's not going to be straight for a while because you need to practice this. Right? That one's the best one. Right? We're going to do the same thing with these very, very long lines. There we go. There we go, just like this. There. Now, same thing we're going to do with these half circles. We're going to try to pull as much as possible. You can rotate the paper, whatever you need to do to make this work. But like this guy here, he really should be pulled this way. You very rarely want to push your pen. All right. Is it the third? It is the third. 12-3. All right. And our warm-ups are done. Look at us being done with our warm-ups. All right. We'll move back over here. And we will come back to our ring camera. So one of the things that we're working on kind of here is all of this is about improving your skills so that you can be a good storyteller. That's the point, really. And so we've got kind of like a number of tools that we use to be good with storytelling. And any tool that you can use is good. So in this instance, I'm using 3D and 2D as a mix in my tools. What I want to show you guys, though, is this. This is what we were working on yesterday, and I've done some more work on it. I mean, we can see that I've got more of a viable design here. We were working on making exit doors on either side, which are now clear, and you can see them there. But that's not what makes this a unique thing. This is what makes this a unique thing. So this is what that vessel looks like with all of its legs extended out and everything like that for walking on things. And this is what I really want. In the end, when we talk about storytelling, this is what we're talking about. This thing tells a story. I mean, it's kind of a creepy story, but it's a story. I mean, the truth of the matter is that we've got a fascinating concept here that people are like, oh, now I kind of want to know what's going on with this, you know. So the vehicle here, I've spent some time kind of getting this thing rigged properly, and like the wheels turn now, you know, like here at this point. And inside here, those are thrusters. So, hello, DJ. So, we are, this is part of a comic that I'm writing. And these are the vessels inside the comic, and we're working on that. Day's going great. How about yours? Where are you calling in from? Or typing in from, I guess I should ask. Cool. Missouri. Awesome. I'm in Denver. So there's, you know, it's like the weather's beautiful and it's been kind of warm for winter. I mean, how's it been up there? Yeah, Denver, Colorado. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've never been really that big on that, though. That's never been my thing, which is cool. I got nothing against anybody who does that. It's just fine. So, you know, people do what people do. So I'm working here in Blender on this side to build the body hull here of this. And then I export it into DAZ Studio so I can make it posable. Yep, that's what we do a little of 3D modeling, a little bit of 2D modeling. I'm a cartoon artist, a comic artist, and I use 3D modeling for the background. Hey, Donald. Donald's over on... yes, the comic is called Bellatrix Rising, and it's because it takes place in near a star called Bellatrix. The star Bellatrix is the left shoulder of Orion. So if you look at the constellation Orion, it's that left shoulder. Yeah, and Donald, I'm talking to a person over on Twitch, if you're wondering, and DJ, I'm talking to Donald over on Facebook, and I can see both of you guys on my little screen up here. So that's Now, if you hear me responding in kind of a sort of fractured way, I apologize. But yeah, so the comic is, I did for a long time a fan comic for Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek fan, as you can probably see behind me. So I was doing this comic, and I had a kind of a heart-to-heart talk with a couple of people, including my wife, and the whole thought process was, why are you doing somebody else's property? Why don't you do your own? So COVID started, and I started building my world building and everything like that, and I'm just going to move the stories that I had written for the Star Trek comic over into this universe, and I've changed things, and so that's what we're working on right now. We're still working on world building. We've been doing that since March, and so, every morning yes, actually, that's what my degree is in, is animation. So both 3D and 2D animation. I specialized in 2D animation when I was in college. And so that's sort of my go-to location. It's just that takes a lot of people, So comics are easier. I can still do the same thing, tell the story without, if I did this via animation, it would take years and years and years and years. I may not have enough years left in me to finish it in animation. So, even with 3D assistance, it's really, really difficult. Thank you. And I appreciate it. And it was good talking to you, man. And I will head over to Donald. Donald, just so you know, did you see the test version of the GPV? So here's the test version with all of its legs extended for walking. And that's where we are now. The test version has some errors right now, so that we've got to fix the errors, like right in here in the engine pylons there. They're not working right and things like that. But we did get, I did get this to the point where these legs do move like they're supposed to. I can put the leg down like that. And this part of the leg, actually rotates out like this correctly. Also, sci-fi and gamer enthusiasts. Yes. Also, if you look, we've got the wheels will turn too. Because the steering, I actually had to sit there and draw these things forever trying to get this squared away here, but the steering of these wheels, because the wheels have to be separate from the thrusters. I think the test version's looking really solid. We're going to need to work on it a little bit more, but I think the test version's looking really, really solid. Much more solid than I thought it was going to be. So, the thing it's also kind of cool that I'm kind of working on here is that these legs can be put on a number of different kinds of vehicles. So I think that we could have, these walkers with this leg setup. And have it where no external anythings yet. That's why it's a test version. We've still got to go back in and into here and put its running lights, and we've got to put spots on it, and we do still need to work on the arms, the manipulator arms that come out of the front for manipulating things. And so we've still got some work to do, but this is a big deal for the comic, so this is a big thing. Also, notice that I made this into a viable door area now. So remember that we still are going to have to map this with UV mapping to make it look like it's a comic drawing and make not look like a 3D render. So we've got some work ahead of us still on that. But that's where I'm going to put in the door here. It'll just be this door that we'll worry about how to make it look open or closed when we get to that point. All right. So, all right. How are you doing today, Donald? How's life? Let's figure out what we're doing. I also feel like I want to put like just a little like foot pad here and here, so that when we use this in shuttle mode without the legs, it doesn't rock back and forth on this ridge. So I feel kind of like we need just a couple of pods, just a little like a foot pod right here and a foot pod right here. And this guy's multi-purposed, so I'm also learning a very valuable and important lesson about how to deal with things in Blender, because we had some real problems with a Boolean earlier. Yeah, I think we all do. We get paid and then all of our money's gone. Then we get paid and then all of our money's gone. It's just so irritating. So there's two things we need to do with this model. Thing number one is we need to put in a lower docking door. So there is definitely that we need to worry about. So we're gonna need to put in a new docking door. So let's do that. I'm gonna put in a cylinder. I'm gonna need to scale it down, because one of the things we had talked about was a docking door, right? Man, I feel you on the payday thing, though. All right. And this side here, we'll drop it all the way down like so. Okay, so here's what I have learned about Booleans. First, we make absolutely sure there is nothing involved here, and then we're going to do this. We're going to do a Boolean, and we're going to take the difference this time and go like that. And this should make a hole, right? And that's what we should have. Then, right, we kind of need something similar to that somewhere along the line. Now I'm going to take and... Now that's sort of what I felt like this section in the back was a bunch of sensor package equipment, multi-purpose package equipment, things like that. We could use that for. So we're first going to delete the cylinder. Then we're going to select you, and then we're going to go into edit mode. Because what we really want to do is just take the top of these. So I'm going to hit the control button, and that will remove all of these guys. And then this can now be inverted like that. And this is the trick that I had learned. The only problem is I think that the normals are going to get inverted and flipped, so we'll have to make sure its normals are fine. Normals are it's a computer's way of explaining which side of these is facing out, which side of the faces. So when you have an object And the object is, here we go. We have an object like this. We have, as far as the computer can see, one surface, right? In reality, obviously, for computers, they're infinitely thin. This outer skin, the skin is very thin, but on a computer's point of view, the inside of the skin is irrelevant. So rather than waste processor cycle by rendering both sides of the skin when you can't see the inside, it simply doesn't render one side of it unless you tell it to. And so that's called a normal. Which side of the skin do we render? This side or this side? So when you flip a normal, what happens is you end up with the computer deciding that that's not the right spot. And so we'll have to check its normals to make sure that everything's fine. We're going to do this. And part of this is that it apparently will land on its airlock. But that's okay. There we go. Yeah, we probably should put some kind of sensor package on it, though, shouldn't we? There we go. And now we have the docking door on the bottom, but it also is acting like a landing pad, some sort, in the back. We're going to put these guys in the background on ships and stuff like that, so there will be, shuttles without wheels sitting in the background. Okay, let's go to the bottom. One of the other things we want to do now that we've gotten this sort of in, we'll double check it, make sure that everything's fine. It does seem to be showing the normals in a normal way. Ha ha ha. I mean, it looks pretty okay, but, you never know. Let's make sure it didn't change the colors of things. No, looks normal to me. Normal. Okay. Now the other thing I'm going to do is put a foot on the front. So we're going to shift add a cube. Right. Why did you not add the cube? Guess we didn't. That's fine. All right. I think a sensor package would be fine. We'll have to do that here in a sec. Alright, so what we're doing is putting a landing foot on the front here. And just enough so that it looks pretty decent, I'm going to turn to the side, because now we need to know where this landing foot goes. And it's right about there. There is another circle in there. There's another square. Great. Fine. It materialized inside the ship. There. This one went wrong too. It is very multi-purposed, so I would assume that it's a multi-purpose vehicle, so I could assume that it would have, quite a few, like, machinery pieces that would be, there we go. It would have attachment points, like hard points. Its entire job being to do various tasks and things like that. So I don't think it would have it by default. I mean, I would assume that there'd be like, sort of like we have AWACS, how they'll take just a normal KC-105 or one of those, and they'll put the sensor dome on top that swings. We'd have something similar to that. Because that would be my thought. You'd have packages that you just keep snapping on. It's a spaceship, so it doesn't really need to be fully aerodynamic. It could have a big block on top that does for scanning and things like that. I'm just trying to make sure that its general purpose stuff works, like landing. Which at this moment is what we are working on, taking the difference of U. Uh-oh. I see problems. That's what we get for not doing this the right way. There we go. We'll go to edit mode. We'll cancel that Boolean. And then we will edit. The forward foot that just tried to crush everything there. I want to do that. All right. There we go. Object mode U. And then we'll take an add a modifier and a Boolean. Take the Boolean out. U. There. Perfect. Or at least I think that's perfect. I hope that's perfect. We'll have to see. Okay, go back to this object. Go to edit mode. Take U. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to reverse it like that. It doesn't need a big foot. It doesn't need Bigfoot, but it needs a foot. So that when we're landing, it has a logical pod of which to land on. Yeah, I feel like the feet themselves have some semblance of like a walking point. Like these are shock absorbing through here. But either way, I don't think being in a walker is going to be a easy, smooth ride, no matter which way you look at it. It's going to be floom, 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 floom. You're on the top of a horse, effectively, I do. Not, in fact, this, which is what it should be. Thank you, Donald. You're just watching me sitting here just like blissfully going, like, So, what we did while you were watching me sit over here make commentary is we put in the docking door on the bottom and a foot. And I made them the same depth as this crossbar landing ring, and that's the footprint of the landing of the ship. So that's where we are. So that's how we've gotten to here. I think sensor packages are definitely a thing, but I feel like those would just be either on this roll bar or back here just mounted on a hard point. So kind of on that particular aspect there. Do like the... There we go. So there we go. We've got a landing feet now. Go into object mode and delete you. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Engines in the back. We've got... I feel like that even though that's a hatch to the bottom, the ring is solid enough. And it would have to be. If you're going to use that docking ring to connect to a spaceship or something, it needs to be pretty solid so the spaceship can accelerate and decelerate, and it'll torque on the locks. So you need to be able to have it be solid enough that it can just be landed on. Makes it difficult to get out of the shuttlecraft as a secondary emergency. But of course, part of this is that, as we were talking about yesterday, I'm sure this entire top hatch will blow in case of you pull the little lever and then pull the thing, and canopy just goes and just comes right off. And when it does, you can just crawl right out, So, okay, let's talk about RC thruster packs and lighting packs and things like that, because we need to put little nose packs on here. So that's our next big mission. We'll start with a cylinder. Yeah, probably a cylinder. That's probably what we want, is a cylinder. There we go. They probably have an old, battered, beaten up one that the new recruits use. It's already fallen over a lot of times. It's beaten up. It's pretty dinged up. It's in sad shape. And you know how the military goes. It's going to have like a name. Be like, oh, you're going to go ride in El Diablo then, huh? It's going to have some name. I'm going to call it El Diablo, or put this in edit mode. We're going to go by face. And hit extrude. Extrude. Like that. Okay, we're going to take this guy. Oh, we forgot to be in naked mode. Go like this. There we go. It's determined not to work for me. Really? All right. So I'm making these RC thruster packs aerodynamic, but they're going to be multiple pack things. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're just going to patch this stuff up. What I've learned in our time here is that we need to F puts in a face, Control takes one of the points out, and Shift adds a point. So we're just adding faces in here, and what I'm really trying to kind of do is just patch this up, right? Now I am sure that there is a non-manual or more automated way of doing this, but for right now, this is what I got. And all I'm doing here is just patching this hole back here. No. Oh no. Well, there's a lot of damage done right there. Alright. I can't get any closer than this looks like. Making it really hard to see in there. We still have an open patch in here. We need to kind of seal up. We'll do that. Do that. Face. And then it's going to be U3. There. Now we've patched that end up. I imagine that, when we talk about these guys, there's going to be stories around the campfire about these pilots doing phenomenally entertaining things to try to kill themselves off in this critter. The pause here is because I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to do with this? Oh, what's my goal here? Because, I mean, this could be right on the nose up there. So I'm trying to kind of, I mean, the reason why we've got to pause here is I'm looking and thinking about this. This is obviously too large at this point in time. We need to scale it down to the point where it makes some sense. Ugh, we didn't do it in naked mode. There we go. Now I'm figuring that there's probably RC thrust packs on this back piece, so we really only need to worry about this front RC cluster pack, which would sit right, here-ish. Right on the nose. Like here, right? Not only is it an RC thruster pack, but it's going to have lights and... This is the challenge you have taken on, huh? You've got to come up with a name for this trainer. I'm okay with that. I'm totally good with it. Got no problem with that at all. All right. So, I feel like either, I got to kind of put this there. Then we can wrap this around the hull a little bit. And there we go. Pull this back a little. All right. I'm going to have to move up here to put ourselves in line with the hull so we can figure out where this all snaps in. Right, because right now it's not actually adjusting to the hull properly, which is to be expected. I'm trying to just match the zone on the hull. We don't want this guy to be cross-eyed. So we want it to match the sleekness of the hull here. Okay. So these are multi-purpose packs. That's what they're going to be. As we did before, we're going to have to just manually move these in until they're all lined up. There. So what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing each one of these, sort of trying to kind of get a good turn to the hull here. We're just kind of parking it in there. The top part's going to be a little bit different because it goes above the hull piece. So there's going to be a little bit of entry into the hull here. And that actually makes me think that maybe I could lower this, like so. We sort of have this cowling going for us here. There we go. Just trying to kind of snap it into place. Now I'm also going to kind of shrink this down a little. Just enough that we kind of give it a little bit more of a sweep. See how this is now a different ring over here? I'm going ahead and just bring that down and back so that it all sort of smoothly fits in there. And now it's there. Now let's get this just a little bit more placed in here so that it's not quite so weird. All right. We're starting to kind of get to the point where that little pack on the front is getting there, but I'm not liking it as much. You know what I mean? I'm feeling kind of meh about this particular aspect of it. Not 100% sure how to fix it either. I mean, I could certainly just draw all of them on the front, but I feel like that is not going to work as well as I'd like. Yeah, I'm not liking this. That's fine. This happens. These things happen. All right, here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to, right here. One thing we've never tried before is how to lathe. To lathe. Can we do a curve? How do we add? Interesting. Yep, it's off to Mr. Google. We're going to create a lathe object in Blender. The one way to create. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're going to create an object. Well, it didn't ask, or it didn't tell me how to do the very first thing. So real quickly, while we're at it, the modifier we're looking for is called spin. And first, create a mesh representing the profile of your object. And it doesn't tell me how to make a mesh that starts this way. I'm often amazed. I know that... Is it in edit mode that we need to go to? Did we have anything we've created? I guess we've created some random messes. That's kind of cool. And we'll try something else here, shall we? Blender, create, line. How do I simply create a mesh line? Change your view to orthographic, okay. Bork. Add a plane. Okay. Plane. Enter edit mode. This is such a complicated way to do things. Broken crab. I loves these, but Donald, these are wonderful. Okay. The wing clipper. The drunken mantis. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. It's time for us to take a quick break. Let's all stand up and stretch. We'll stretch. And we'll walk around real quick. Make a walk around the office. Do 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 do. We'll go over here. We'll look outside. It is a lovely day.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely day. Wander back.
Steal one of my chips.
No, I can't steal any of your chips. I'd end up crunching on the microphone. Crunch, 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 crunch. All right. All right. I assume then that I don't think that I meant to click end credits there. That was an end credits thing. I didn't mean to hit the end credits. That was weird. I think I might have hit a command that put us to end credits. The show's not over. We still got another hour. Back to our monitor. I am trying to figure out now how to extend. Let's see what it's got down here. Z-plane, X-plane, rotate, resize. So, okay. Look at the instructions. What did it say? Control plus click. Well, okay. Ah, there we go. Control plus right click. I like how it says left click on the instructions, but it's really right click. All right. Now we have a constellation. It's all right. I can at least do something with this. What we're going to do is we're going to build a navigation light. Navigation beacon. A beacon of hope. We're just building the profile of a nav beacon. There we go. I just think it's hysterical. We've got all these great names for this little, like, creature of a mech. Because they're going to have to. I mean, somebody's going to talk about it. They're going to be they're going to be sitting around going, how'd you do in the broken crab? How'd you do in the wing clipper? The drunken mantis. I like the drunken mantis. I think that's the one I like the most. In fact, I like that so much I shall write it down. There. You should have seen my rating on the drunken mantis. Oh, it was sucky. Yeah. All right. Go to edit mode and select all the vertices. Okay. With the profile. Rotating the object around the cursor in the top view. So switch to the top view. I guess we also probably should put it in line with there. Okay. Place the cursor along the center of the profile by selecting one of the various. Mesh. And that's mesh cursor selection mesh. I'm sure this all makes sense to people. Nope. All that did. Bull spider. The metal mule. You've got some good ones going there. Let's make sure that we are correct here. I don't think we are even. Yeah, I think we are going the wrong direction anyway, so. can move you to exactly where we need to be. Here. Or maybe I could just do this. Right? And I can just go wee. I was talking about moving this guy over, and I'm like, well, or I could just do this. Alright, we're going to select you. Alright. Okay. Click the spin button. Is that you? Oh, that's cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was neat. Wow, that was nifty, actually. Okay. Merge by distance operation. Ego Maelstrom? I'm digging all these names, man. You come up with some good ones. Suppose I like this. No, suppose I like it, and suppose I think it's good. Then can I just select it? Sort of. And just call that good enough? Or is it going to be weird? These are all the things that make me wonder. Okay, now we'll talk about this. We'll go to the top view. We'll still go to the top view. And we'll talk about beacon lights. They don't need to be this big, for one. But there we go. There we go. Now we have a beacon light in the back. Yeah, it makes for a good beacon light, although now it looks furry. But that's okay. Right? Because that just looks like a normal standard beacon. We should probably put one on each little fin side over here so that it can have a red and a blue, or red and a green, red and a blue. Could have a red and blue, you know. Right? We don't judge. And duplicate object. And we'll make this guy come over here. Look at the front. He's going to be out here. There we go. Not that far down, though. I feel like, I had said this yesterday, I feel like navigation beacons would still be a big bubble that lights up, even if the light inside it is this big. Because you want it to reflect and shine everywhere and make everybody go, oh, there's a navigation beacon. Its center is so far away. I'm going to have to go look. That was what I was looking for either. There we go. I'm just moving these guys in. There we go. We're getting really close real quick here. There. Yep, there we go. Still looks like a boat. Looks like it's a good boat. Got ourselves a good boat going here. Alright, so we got these three nav lights. Now I just got to go in and color them. The top one's easy, it's white. And I do think that if any tradition is going to last 500 years, it's naval tradition.
I heard nasal tradition.
And it's nasal tradition. I think here we don't have any colors set yet. That's right, we'll set a new one here. And this one will be a darker gray. so that the beacon can be picked up. Actually, kind of maybe I should duplicate it after I make the color combination. Walking cliffhanger. Like it. Maybe I should just go on ahead and just Boolean them in. Yeah, maybe I should. Because it's not going to match the color. Right. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I am not sure where we're going to be with Space Force. But star or space science fiction tradition has been that the Space Forces are Navy. Although they have sort of done traditionally that fighter jocks are Air Force. So, let's see how much damage it did. Not 100% sure if that even merged. We'll see what happens. This may just bork the entire system, but we'll give it a shot. Okay. So we'll go into edit mode. We'll go into object mode, select this object, then go into edit mode. And we'll go into materials. I'm going to make that engine black, assign. And this is temporary, but engine black works well for making it stand out. So we'll come up with, we don't have actually a white end, so we'll come up with a new material, and we'll call this one white nav lights. And this base color, surface, subsurface color, all that stuff looks good. Not really specular, but emission will be white. So there we go. Well, that snagged a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't want to snag. Meh. That's not what I want to deal with. Right, now I've got the light there on the mount, and it works. Good. Okay. Now we'll go down here. And we'll do this guy. And we'll do engine black because I like the look of that. That works really well. And then we'll just come in here and we'll select all right. So now we're going to add a new its base color naturally green. And emission is also going to be green. And we'll assign that. Alright, now I'm moving on this guy. Engine black. Assign. Interesting. It didn't do the middle. I don't know why it didn't do the middle. That's kind of strange. I mean, it doesn't matter. There we go. And we'll do the same thing. Add new red nav lights. And then base color. Red. And again, didn't catch the middle. Stop. Is that open? What's the story? Is there just nothing there? I guess so. There we go. At least that'll tell you something about which direction this thing is going. Okay. Now we have to figure out how to map this thing. I feel kind of like I might be happy with just those 3 beacons. I don't think we need a forward beacon. And I figure yeah, I think that maybe we just need 3 beacons in the back. I'm thinking about putting the beacons in the front too, but then I was like, huh. What do you think? Should we put nav beacons on the front of the boat? And we have our nav beacons on the aft section. Should we put them on the nose? We certainly could, but I feel like it might give it googly eyes and miscolored googly eyes. And that could be, give it little bug eyes in the front. I don't know about that. May or may not be a good idea. On the same token, we could take that same shape and make it into laser nibs or something like that and just, narrow them down and then put 2 laser nibs in the front. That could be interesting. There are masers in here. So that's kind of a thing. What are you thinking over there, Donald? What's your thoughts on this? While you're kind of pondering, I'm going to see about UV editing. See if we can't unwrap this guy. Anybody know how to UV? No, because I don't. I don't really know how to UV at all here. This is what we need to do. New image? No. Well, we've done something amazing, haven't we? Yeah, I feel like that's probably true too. I mean, headlights, so to speak, could be anywhere. I'm just worried about the nav beacons here, whether the nav beacons should be lined up or, I don't know. They seem like they're fine. I feel like we shouldn't put nav beacons in the front. It'll make it look like it's got buggly eyes. But you're right, the headlights could be, white when you're driving along and then switch to Christmas colors whenever you're in space so that you know not to, or know which way it's going. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. They'll go Christmas colors whenever you're in a crowded area. That's probably a good idea. It's probably our best bet. Now, how do we UV this guy? How do we UV this guy? Does anybody know how to UV stuff? Back to... And editing with a UV map and a test grid texture. Oof. Cardboard box. Yes. I get that. That works. Okay. Sync selection. What are we syncing about? Okay. Man. Yeah, I think that the headlights will be flush. I mean, I like the idea of the little beacons in the back because, A, you don't want to smack it. That's the likely spot to be hitting somebody with, is the back. So... unwrapping meshes. Oh boy. Well, okay. Let's figure this out. 1, create seam. So all we need to do is go in here and mark edges like that and create seams. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that the LED lights would be very bright going forward and it won't be a problem. So what I'm doing is creating a seam, which we will use to cut open our ship. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Control E. Mark seam. That's actually not that hard, I guess. So what I'm doing here is, as it's instructing me to do, The instructions are to make seams. Well, I feel like Blender has an awful lot of manual process. I wonder if there's a faster way to do this. That's what I was thinking. Those rear beacons, I mean, the light, like I said, the light might be this big, but it's in a dome that's this big so that it lights up in all directions, and the dome is designed to make it so that you can see forward, you can see aft. So in theory, you can see every part of those domes unless you are literally standing on the nose of this thing, at which time you really don't need to know that information anymore. You, in theory, already have it. I feel like I'm missing something here. Ah, behold. We have figured something out. That's, whoa, 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 whoa. No. There we go. I see now. So whatever happens in the right happens in the left. Dun dun dun. There's all of our stuff. We'll never understand it. Like a smart unwrap here. I mean, because this shouldn't be that hard, right? I kind of miss the days of intelligently doing these things. Welcome back. I'm still trying to figure out how to smart unwrap this thing. I don't even know where to find smart unwrap. It does kind of look like a Cornish hen, doesn't it? It has sort of the Cornish hen properties. It looks like in order to make the smart unwrap work, I'm going to have to watch a video. That's not the point of my show. It's not what we're trying to do here. Me watching videos seems like a bad idea. Unwrap. Intriguing. Well, over here we've got like some kind of weird Mandelbrot thing going. So there's that. I think what I'm going to do, because one of the things we can do is take the textures. Wonder if we can select by texture. Or, because I've already gone through and we don't need to map like the lights and stuff like that. They're just going to be what they are. I mean, these are all things I'm kind of wondering here. So I used to have a program called UV Mapper, and it was a great little program, really lightweight. Didn't have a lot of weight to it at all. And it was great for unwrapping objects like this easily. But kind of wondering if there's some way to select by, say, material, maybe.
You have that program on this computer.
So I am looking. Let's do 2500 by 2500. You know, you could type it in. All right. There we go. Now what we're going to do is, because we only need hull. Yep, we're having a show tonight, and we're going to be talking about Alan Dean Foster, which is an interesting thing. I don't even know what to do. Why do I have pinch controls? That's interesting. We'll be discussing Alan Dean Foster tonight. That'll be kind of an interesting thing. I think I'm running out of steam on this one. I do too. He's one of my favorites. I met him once at Mile High Con, and he's just a flamboyant, interesting fellow. So, there's that. Let's see, what else are we... I feel like that's pretty much all we're going to be discussing. Alan Dean Foster a little bit and stuff like that. But as far as this goes, I am a little bit stymied here. UV mapping is complicated on the best days, but trying to get Blender to UV map, that's the next big fight. What I'm hoping for is that I can ultimately make upper hull, lower hull, and then unwrap by, like engine pods, and kind of then make a number of just zones over there that we can map in. And if we do, then we can make different maps that map to different areas, and then all you have to do is change the maps on the engine pods. So that's cool and everything like that. It's 10 till noon. I'm going to go on ahead and break early because I think I'm stymied at this point in time. We've done good work today on this guy, so we'll work this out. But the UV editing is the most important thing that we can use here. And so I need to figure that out. This is going to have to be something we're going to have to figure out. Because we've got to UV edit. Not only do we have to UV map this guy, we've got to map the destroyer, the light cruiser. And if I want to make any kind of... I know. He so wants to print these things. It could be fun. Okay. Well, Donald, I'm going to head on out, and I'll see you tomorrow. We may have Pepper on tomorrow, which will be great. And I'll see you tonight if you're on the show. And in the meantime, thank you for joining me, and keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.